What's a funny memory you have that if you told someone, they'd think you're lying? A friend once called the wrong number, got the wrong house, and had the right person pick up. So, I was at work, replacing a modem for my boss. I'd removed the modem and connected a telephone to test that it had dial tone. Soon after, the phone rang. It didn't make much sense, because that phone line had only been used for outgoing calls from the computer. When I picked up, the person on the other line just said, "Hey man, do you want to see a movie later?" I recognized the voice. 2. It was a friend of mine. I was really confused for a second and said something like, "Josh? How did you get this number?" He said he called my home phone number. He must have misdialed my number, and accidentally dialed the number for my boss's modem line. At work, he called the wrong number, got the wrong house, and the right person picked up, on a phone that had only been connected for 2 minutes in the past 2 years. The odds must be astronomical. It's just a weird coincidence that I'll always remember. When I was ditching first period in HS, a cop was in front of me at 7-Elevens. The cashier couldn't break his $50, so I paid for his coffee with my stuff. He thanked me. We jabbed about me being late to school, and I noticed the tattoo on his neck, and we joked about bad decisions. 2 weeks later I get caught in a speed trap, and who sticks his head in my window? And he went, "Coffee girl." And I went, "Tat neck." And got let off with a finger shake. I was the brockest I have ever been, living in the middle of nowhere. I was pulling my last $20 out of a gas station ATM. I hit the button and it spit out $60. I was only charged $20 on my account. It sounds like such a tall tale, but I swear it happened. I tripped and fell at the same corner outside Subway 3 different times years apart, and the same guy tried to catch me every single time. Edit. Okay, I keep getting loads of soulmate, marriage comments, so to clarify, I was 7 the first time this happened. This was a grown man, LMAO. EDIT 2. This man is not a stalker or pedophile. Him and my mum would recognize each other because she was with me each time. Yes, he fell trying to catch me, but it was funny, so it's okay. And no, this was not the underground train type of subway, I mean the sandwich shop. He did not work there, and no, he isn't homeless. Fuck's sake. Getting a lot of the same BS comments. And no, he wasn't tripping me, we would be walking opposite directions. And no, his name isn't Robbie. An eagle came for my face as a child. I was about 8. I ducked and it ended up grabbing my hair and taking some with it. I ran inside crying and told my mom. She didn't believe me, so I never told anyone else. I'm 22. I used to go to uni with this guy named Sam. Sam was a pretty quirky guy. We had classes together twice a week and were pretty new friends. Anyway, I was walking down the strip of shops between the dorms and the campus, and I see Sam across the road. I walk up to him. Say hi. Be friendly. After a short conversation, I excuse myself and say, "Bye Sam." I'm not Sam. Bull fucking shit. It's Sam. Talks the same way. Held the conversation fine. I noticed nothing different. He claims to be Sam's identical twin brother. I call Sam on his bullshit. Pretending to be his own twin is the kind of shit I'd expect out of Sam after knowing him for 3 months. No. He insists. He's not Sam. Fucking prove it. Sam. I make this complete stranger who has no idea who I am pull out photo identification. Like I'm the campus police. Is it Sam? Nope. Identical twin brother. That Sam just never mentioned. What the fuck? How have I known this guy for 3 months and not know about his twin brother? I bet this asshole has set me up. I go and confront Sam about it before our lecture later in the day. I tell him the story. Bull fucking shit, says Sam. He doesn't believe my story. He doesn't believe I'd interrogate his brother and thinks I'm making shit up. I swear. It's all true. I say. Prove it. He says. He calls his brother. Motherfucker says he has no idea what Sam's talking about. Sam's brother continues to claim to not recognize me for like 7 more months until their birthday party. The only time I'd ever manage to get them in the same place. And Sam's twin makes me show my ID when I rock up to the party. Well, it finally all comes up well after everyone but Sam's twin forgot about it. Funny fucking bastards. Identical in every way. Got stuck in a bank for the night. When the bank is closed, you can still get to the ATM thanks to a security door. Once inside, the door decided to stop working. No phone. No emergency button. Just waited here for hours till someone in the street saw me trough the glass and called someone. Before, my husband and I were married, but had been dating for a long while. I was watching Portlandia and bam, there's my husband on screen. Dumbfounded, I called him and he casually said, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." I had a pet hummingbird as a kid. My mom found it injured on a sidewalk and nursed it back to health. It only had one eye and no depth perception, so we kept it inside. We'd let it buzz around the room, land on us, and all that jazz. My brother told his teacher about it, in 3rd grade, and the teacher actually called my mom and was like, "Your son has made up a crazy story and insists it's real." Reality was we had a pet hummingbird, and that seemed crazy enough people didn't believe it. I was walking on a biking trail when a woman rode past me on her bicycle. I yelled out, "Keep the pedal to the metal." Not 2 seconds later, I hear an awful metallic noise and turn to see the poor woman's pedal mechanism had fallen apart. She told me, "You shouldn't have said that." I apologized profusely and asked if she needed any help. Naturally she didn't. Not from me anyway. I once checked in at a restaurant and gave the hostess my name to hold my slot. She then asked for my last name since the person below shared my first name. When I told her my last name, she looked at me like I was lying. The person below had my first and last name. She laughed and introduced us. And we took a pic. I've never met someone with my same first and last name since. I was playing 8-ball at a bar one night. I'm not very good, just play for fun. I'm on a slight winning streak. My next opponent racks them. And I break. 8-ball goes in on the break, so it's an automatic win. Dude refuses to leave the table. Continues to put quarters in and racks again. I'm like, "Dude, you lost. There's like 8 people in line to play next." He's drunk and being stubborn and won't leave. So I break again. And the 8-ball drops again. Dude walks away without saying a word. I went to see Mitch Hedberg do stand-up. We stayed around a while hoping to see him leaving. He never materialized though. So my husband and I walked towards our car. As we were walking, we heard a woman yell from an ally, "Hey! Mitch Hedberg is back here signing autographs." We walked around the corner behind a scary old building. It was like 1 a.m. and pretty dark. There was Mitch Hedberg and no other fans. Just him and his wife, who had been the one to yell about autographs. He was very high and super lovey. He hugged my husband and me and told us what his fans mean to him. He took pictures of us for his scrapbook page online. He was also hilarious. We were just there behind a building at 1 a.m. with Mitch Hedberg and his wife laughing and hugging deep into the wee hours. When I tell people this, they go silent, and I'm not sure why. I figure they don't believe it. Back in middle school, I was walking back to class after lunch when someone chucked something down the hallway as hard as they could. My natural instinct was to jump up and catch it. It was a perfect catch and not a single person saw. It was a mozzarella stick. I tell everyone this. I dunno if someone would think I'm lying about it though. But it's just too funny for it to be real. In my opinion. Roommate walked in and said, "Did you hear about Steve?" I said, "Unless he's dead. I don't want to hear about it." There was a moment of silence. Followed by, ... Tiffany. Sure enough. He's dead. Edit. My name is Tiffany. And me and the guy ended on bad terms, but I did grieve his death and he is still in my thoughts every so often. I was in elementary school. During recess. Just kinda daydreaming and looking at some ravens flying overhead. When one of them suddenly took a nosedive. Right into an open trash can. So of course I rush over there to check it out. But the raven was just gone out of nowhere. I was not the only PNE who saw it though. Another kid came rushing over as well. And that's how I met my best friend for the next 4 years. My sister being bullied by a parrot calling her names. I was driving a friend home to Indianapolis from Holy Cross in South Bend. We got pulled over for speeding and the cop asked me, "Son, do you know how fast you were going?" To which I replied with a straight face and no sarcasm, "Well, my cruise control was set at 88, so I'm guessing somewhere in the vicinity of 88. I've never seen such a confused look on a person's face. He proceeds to ask if I can step out of my vehicle and into his so he can talk to me while he writes me a ticket. I comply, and as he's writing me up, he's explaining to me how he had to do his share of training in Indianapolis. He said that the one thing that amazed him was how fast locals drive, especially on I-465, and he understands why I'm conditioned to do so. Soon as he's done with the ticket, he turns to me and says, "So here's the deal. You're the first motorist to ever admit to me you knew you were speeding, so I'm gonna cut you a break. If you can make it back to Indy without getting another ticket, I won't turn this one in. But if you do, you're getting 2 feet." I slowed down for the rest of the drive. My doctor asked me once if I'd had a digital rectal exam yet. I responded, "Show. They are digital now." Then I looked over to see him lubing his digits. Well, not so unbelievable, as we've been married 5 years now, but when I first met my wife I was in Vancouver for a student program for the summer. She was a model and crazy beautiful. I was some dirty farm kid from Saskatchewan who couldn't flirt to save his life and had never kissed a girl or taken one on a date. So when I came back to my hometown, the way I told people about my girlfriend was, "Yeah, I have a girlfriend, but she's a model in Vancouver and no one here has ever met her yet. Maybe one day." Took more than 2 years for anyone to believe me. Edit. Wow, this blew up. I won a scholarship to a improv camp. Yes, I was also a theater kid, and she was in my group for the week. Just to be clear, her name is Fiona and I sang "All Star" by Smash Mouth to win her over. If you have any other questions, please send me a message because I love bragging about her. Edit 2. Yes, in my case Shrek literally is love. Edit 3. There should be a picture of us on my profile. So I worked for the IRS collecting taxes several years ago. I had seized someone's car and the IRS salespeople were in the process of selling it. IRS procedures around some of this stuff are ancient. One of the procedures are to post a notice of sale in 3 public locations. So I go to the library to post a notice of sale. The person on the ground floor says that I'll have to talk to Steve on the 2nd floor to see if it's okay for me to post the notice of sale on the bulletin board. I walk up the stairs and see a guy sitting at the desk. Me. "Are you Steve?" "Steve? Who's asking?" "The IRS?" In a playful manner. Me. "Yes. In fact, my name is XXXXXX. Steve. Jesus Christ. I've been using that joke for 20 years. I never thought anyone would ever say yes. Not that I remember it personally. But I was born in a helicopter on Christmas. When I was a kid I used to say I was twins with Jesus because we came from above on the same day. I don't mention it unless someone asks because I know it sounds insane. Started college. Saw my brother's best friend on campus. From a distance. Hard to miss. Nate's 6 feet 6. Skinny. Long brown hair. Fitting of our childish friendship. I straight up open field tackle the guy. From behind. Blindsided. "It's not Nate. I apologize." And sheepishly run away. 3 hours later. A girlfriend from high school introduces her new boyfriend to a group of us. It's the guy the first tackled. Danny. Super nice, and forgiving, guy. We've been friends for 15 years. Was contract programming. Dropping into the office every Friday. The assistant QA dude was there to take my work. Who died and left you in charge? Jeff died 2 days ago. Shocked face. I got stung by a platypus. This was a couple years ago, but I pulled up to a stoplight. And another vehicle in the next lane also comes to a stop. The car is filled with what looks like high school kids. The kid in the passenger seat notices me. Taps on his window and starts doing the universal sign for rock. Paper. Scissors. I look at the light, which is still red, and immediately think fuck it and play along, so we start. 1, 2, 3. Shoot and we tie. 1, 2, 3. Shoot. We tie again. This keeps happening. All the young kids in the other car are involved and are screaming like WOOOOOAAH every time we tie. We literally got off like 15 rounds of rock. Paper. Scissors and tied every single time until the light turned green. I'm still high from that and hope all those guys are doing well. Me being black does not mean I am good at basketball. I said before, lazily throwing the ball backwards over my head for a 3-pointer. It's not really funny, but I shot a hole-in-one while golfing by myself when I was 16. It wasn't one of those beautiful arching shots. No. It was a worm burner that I thought ended up in a little stream behind the hole because it appeared to disappear off the back of the green. Looked for 20 minutes before just walking by the hole. Saw a chicken walking along a road. Cross to the other side. And keep walking same direction. Just like the joke. I was playing basketball in the park with my mom. Neither of us were very athletic. We were just having fun. There was some kid hanging around us and we weren't trying to be rude, so we let him. After a few minutes of some of the worst questions I've ever heard, he asked me if I could throw the ball at the basket backwards. I said sure. See, had he asked if I could make it backwards, I would've said no. But he only asked if I could throw it backwards. Which I could. My mom knew what I was doing. Hell, I picked up so much from her growing up, it was probably her idea before I said anything. I took a half-hearted peek at the basket. Turned around. No warm-up. Just let that ball fly. I turned back around to watch the obvious miss. I started to say, "See." I threw it at the basket. But all I got out of my mouth was, "See." And then the ball went in. Swish. Nothing but net. Backboard? That thing never even hit the rim. I don't have the will to keep a straight face if I looked at the kid. I looked my mom and said, "Just like that." She was almost as surprised as I was. That kid told me he didn't think I could do it again. Mama beat me to it this time and said, "I think it's your turn." He left us alone soon after. I moved to a new city and figured I would go for a drive. Get the lay of the land. At a stop sign trying to turn right. Looking left at traffic. See my chance and turn right without looking. A pedestrian was crossing in front of me and I hit him. Not super hard, but hard enough for him to kind of roll up on my hood. He got off and stood up. I rolled my window down and apologized, but he was kind of like Eric Idle in National Lampoon's European Vacation. He kept apologizing, saying it was his fault. Just a flesh wound, etc. I decided my sightseeing tour should come to an end after running someone down in the street. I got a little turned around before finding my bearings. I was headed up a hill toward my new place and didn't realize my lane was ending. I didn't see the car in my blind spot and totally cut them off, and our cars very lightly bumped. Immediately stopped next to the car I hit at a red light. The driver was the pedestrian I ran over 20 minutes ago 5 miles away. Again, he was disturbingly polite. Apologized to me. And did not want to exchange insurance info. There was no damage. TLDR. I hit a pedestrian with my car, then later hit a car in a different area. The pedestrian and driver were the same person. When I was 7 years old, I saw a lady in the pool changing room with nipples that I swear to God were like 5 inches long. My buddy and I once were out and a dog catcher or whatever tried to make us help them catch this stupid ass dog. We didn't help them, so they threatened to call the police on us. I'm a police dispatcher. You won't believe this. But one time some nutcase called and tried to make us arrest some kid 'cause they didn't want to help him catch his dog or something. I peed on a bear once at 12 or 13. Some background: I lived in a mountain cabin with some family, aunts and cousins and stuff. The cabin was small, but we had several acres, so we had about 4 RV trailers for the rest of the family. 2 were my aunts, 1 was for weed, and the last and closest smallest was for children, which was just my brother and I at the time. Anyhow, it was a cold wintry day with fresh snow as I wake up having to piss so bad I'm surprised I didn't wet the bed. I am groggy as hell and my eyes are barely open as I head to the trailer door and open it, start my morning leak. I did not notice the bear less than 2 feet away, so close I could have pet him if I leaned a bit forward with its head in the garbage can until I was halfway done when it moved. So of course I turned my whole body in my half-asleep state in to see what moved, and I finally notice a giant brown furry thing, and I'm pissing all over its hind left thigh and leg as I'm wondering what it is. As the bear lifts its head and looks at me. We stare at each other for a moment as my actions begin to dawn on me. A moment later I finish. The bear and I stared at each for several moments until I took a step back. Shut our flimsy door and locked our deadbolt that would have been useless had the bear decided I insulted his honor. And I went back to bed listening and waiting until I eventually went back to sleep. Many moons ago. I was 15 at the time. We were at a house party. We were all drinking, smoking weed, usual teenage nonsense. My parents were pretty cool in that they knew what we were doing. Knew they couldn't stop it, so they followed the "don't get in a car if someone's been drinking. Call us and we'll come get you." And #X200B. So around 11:30 p.m. or so I called my dad and said I need a ride. We were on the edge of town, right where it starts to become rural. So I asked my dad, "Can you meet us at intersection?" Myself and my friend walked down to the intersection, dark road, semi-rural. And my friend at the time drank too much. Decided he needed to stick his fingers down his throat and get rid of some of the liquor in his system. So there he is, wrenching his guts out at the side of the road. A car passes and I see a light bar on top. It's a cop. He hits his brakes. I say "aw fuck," thinking we're about to get jammed up again for drinking underage. When suddenly, crashed, the cop gets rear-ended by another cop. Don't know how. Or why. I just know that I watched one cop slam into the back of another cop car. And #X200B. I did not need to be told that was my cue to exit. Me and my friend booked it out of there. About 10 minutes later we circled the block and came around from the opposite direction we ran in. Doing our best. What happened? Just as my dad pulled up. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.